Dickinson, who used to make them and made them well, sold them to another company who now makes them crappy. So we stopped using them and went to the API test strip. But essentially it does the same thing. Only this one, you literally have little augers. So you have all these different special media in the tube. And they're differential. You're going to look for a color change. This one up here is an uninoculated control. So that's how it starts out. This one is E. coli. E. coli ferments glucose. See the color change? It's facultative anaerobe. All Enterobacteriaceae are glycolytic. They ferment glucose. This is Serratia. Ferments glucose also. This is Citrobacter. Ferments glucose also. All Enterobacteriaceae ferment glucose. Enterobacter ferments glucose. So your glucose compartment, which is down on your strip a little ways, it should have been a positive for everybody. If it wasn't, you might have misread it or you didn't get enough of a color change. Sometimes that'll happen. But anyway, okay, so how can we differentiate facultative anaerobes, which are Enterobacteriaceae, from this guy who does not ferment glucose? This one is Pseudomonas aeruginosa, who requires air and can't ferment anything because it's not a fermenter, it's an aerobe. Does not ferment glucose. So right away I know this is not a facultative anaerobe. If it were a facultative anaerobe, it would ferment the glucose. I mean, it's Enterobacteriaceae. If it were Enterobacteriaceae, they're all glycolytic, this would be yellow. So I immediately know it's not Enterobacteriaceae. And I actually get, these are all considered negatives, except the last one, which is the test for citrate. Citrate is the same thing as citric acid. Where have you heard citric acid before? Krebs cycle. And what do you need to run your Krebs cycle? Oxygen. Krebs will not run without oxygen. This is an aerobe. Used the oxygen and ran its Krebs cycle. These are facultative anaerobes. He ran his Krebs cycle. He didn't. He did. They're facultative. They can run it or they don't have to run it, right? But if you're a strict aerobe, you have to run it. Now let's look at how do we differentiate Enterobacteriaceae from one another. Here's Citrobacter. Citrobacter and Salmonella are the only two, and Shigella, maybe, I'd have to check the Shigella, are the only ones that give you that black H2S precipitate. It should also have done that on the SS auger. Your Citrobacter didn't do it on the SS auger, but it should have. The auger's just not sensitive enough. But the Salmonella did. So this Citrobacter, that's the same thing as SS auger. You get the black precipitate. E. coli doesn't make it, neither does Serratia. All right, here's how Serratia and E. coli are different. This is glucose. They're the same. They're both glycolytic. This is lysine. Both E. coli and Serratia can ferment lysine, an amino acid. This is ornithine, another amino acid. E. coli doesn't ferment it. Serratia does. These are sugars. Forget which one is which. I have to check. The first one is adonitol. Wait, that's H2S. This one, adonitol. Serratia, excuse me, E. coli does not ferment adonitol. Serratia does. Look, Citrobacter didn't. The next one is lactose. Friendly lactose fermenter, E. coli. Serratia, unfriendly, non-lactose fermenter. Citrobacter, friendly lactose fermenter. Citrobacter, Enterobacter, and E. coli are all the friendly lactose fermenters. Serratia, Shigella, not so much. These are other sugars. See the difference in the patterns? So, how can I differentiate one Enterobacteriaceae from another? They're all glycolytic, so looking at their glucose reaction isn't going to help. But I can look at the difference they have in amino acids, and I can look at the difference they have in other sugars, okay? Some are lactose fermenters, some are not. Some will ferment adonitol, some will not. So, and all same with amino acids. Also wanted to mention to you that when you die, your gut flora is what's going to start the decomposition process. And that's why cadavers stink. So you're driving to Bradenton campus on 301 and you're hitting a possum